Hello there. Once again, it's Anton from Anton Bay. Thank you guys for stopping by the collection room. Today I'm taking a look at some comics. It's going to be some AC comics. It's going to be Jungle Girls. I've mentioned that I love Jungle Girl comics, but I'm speaking in a generic sense of Jungle Girl comics. These are actually comics just called Jungle Girls, and these were produced by AC Comics. And what they are is they're just kind of Jungle Girl titles, all different ones. So like you've got some Nokia or Nyoka, Nokia, some vintage stories from like the 40s and stuff that have been reprinted and brought back to the modern audience. And then you also have some more modern stories added in. So we've got a little blend of, we've got Tara from the Femme Force. We've got a Cave Girl issue in here. We've got Nyoka, the Jungle Girl, which I have a set of those as well. But for black and white reprints, these were pretty fantastic. And then they always added like modern covers on them and stuff, usually. But you get an idea of kind of, there was a lot. And this series doesn't even cover all of them. There was so many different Jungle Girls back in the 40s and 50s that like I can't even name them all. I have tried different times to remember them, but most of them are just a weird combination of sounds like oolaga or Turga or whatever that I can't remember all of them because it's difficult. But you're going to see a lot of the basics premise, which is, you know, a woman versus the monsters of the jungle. And that's pretty timeless as far as what's entertaining in a comic book. And then your primary differences between your characters, other than hair color, is what pattern the outfit they're wearing is made out of. I found this to be kind of comical because it's like everybody has their own. So there's like one who wears a cheetah, one who wears a cheetah that's like shaped different, one who wears a leopard print, one who wears zebra print, one who wears giraffe print, one who wears Tara wears camouflage. They have to all have their own animal print to distinguish them from each other because there's so many of them and there's not a ton of personality difference. There is some, but there's such a similar look to the books that sometimes you wouldn't know who you're reading if you didn't look at what animal print the lead woman was wearing, which I think is hilarious. That is the key element to distinction between the titles. It's just what I like. And for instance, this is Cave Girl, and she wears a black and white. Actually, that's her behind us. You see, she wears a black and white. Tara always wears this green camouflage thing. Nyoka always wears green khakis, like not even the tan khakis. But you get your jungle elements out of all of these. Doing battle against the locals, doing battle against the local animals, the wildlife, tribes, things like that. And so much of this would not be probably popular today. I mean, there's between harming indigenous tribes or harming indigenous animals, it's not very PC anymore. But there's a timeless element to it that you gotta love. And I've pointed out before that most of the stories either revolve around your lead protagonist female either stopping poachers or saving adventurers, you know, like explorers, and working a balance between where she lives in the jungle and the natives that she protects and the animals she protects, or the people that are visiting that she chooses to protect. She's always like caught between the things of the jungle and the things of the outside world and finding the balance between the two. I don't know who this actress is, but it does look like she was playing a jungle girl, probably in one of those serials. They had a lot of serials. I think there was a Nyoka, the Jungle Girl serial that I think I've watched a few of. And then there's been several. Shauna. Enter an age of unknown terrors, pagan worship, and virgin sacrifice. Yep. Oh my gosh. The Return of D.B. Cooper. When was this written? This is brilliant. I love the legend of D.B. Cooper. Yep, they got him surviving. Awesome. I named my Cocker Spaniel Cooper. It has nothing to do with him being DeBeagle Cooper or D.B. Cooper. I just thought it was a cool name because it's named after a small car. Like my last dog was named Hudson. Name my dogs after cars. But no, just the fact that we have D.B. Cooper in here, which I didn't remember that. That's pretty cool. He does not look at all like he was in the movie or in the Unsolved Mystery Special or in all the photos. And you can tell this is one of the more recent modern ones written. This is not like this is not a vintage story, because I think D.B. Cooper was early 80s, late 70s, early 80s. I can't remember exactly when. Now this Cave Girl, this is clearly a vintage story. You can tell because immediately when you get into vintage stories, you get a lot more wording, and your picture boxes get much smaller. Your panel boxes scrunch down. It's a thing. I tend to think sometimes in vintage comics they went way too dense with their dialogue and panels, but it's just what it was in the age. And I like a little bit bigger picture. I like more focus on the art and big sprawling pages, and maybe a little less dialogue, but maybe that's just because I'm a lazy reader these days. And that is some heavy print. What were you guys thinking? AC, man. You guys were never never sparing on some of your back pages. I've got a few issues like FemForce. It's like, I don't know, it'll be 4 or 5 pages of thick lettering and letters and commentary and stuff like that. I wish I could say I'd gone through and read a bunch of them. I really should, because I'm sure it's interesting takes with the company, but I have not. Wow, these look super dense. The art looks way more dense than even the lettering. This is clearly a vintage story. With some extremely dense pages. Like that's some very, very dense artwork. Gotta respect that. Especially on such small little panels that somebody would put in that much effort. I see a lot of modern comics with panels 3 times the size, and people won't even bother to draw a background in it. And that is ridiculous. Another Jungle Girl, looks like probably a movie. I would say 80s looking at her hair and his hair. That's what it looks like to me. Possibly 70s. But this issue number 3, I'm looking for it. Where's the Gorby? This looks like a Gorby, but no, I see it. It's black. Huh. I would have thought that looked like a Gorby cover, but that is a Bill Black cover, it looks like. Yeah, the modern stuff you're always going to know. It's got Heike on it, the Count, your typical AC comic guilty parties over there, but plus a more modern art style. And look at how they break up the panels. I mean, clearly a more modern comic book, which I always appreciate. But I like the fact that they've reprinted the old, they've put in some new, they've given you some bang for your buck. And, you know, these were only, well, these were $2.75, which is quite a bit for 1992. But considering how, like, where else were you going to get some of these old stories? Fight Comics, this would have been a Fiction House title. Jumbo Comics, another Fiction House. Cave Girl, stuff that, I mean, you can't buy those. I mean, maybe you can. If you want to shell out $50 to $100 per issue of the old stuff. And I'm just happy having some reprinted stuff from it. It's really good. That is a big snake. Definitely worth battling. This is some great dense panels. I like the thick lining. And you can tell like how thick some of the lines are. It makes it really pop out. It gives depth to the backgrounds too. Good looking stuff. Little on the small side for me as far as like panel size and a lot of dialogue. It's it's closing out too much of the scenery for me. Tiger Girl. Okay, I've run into a ton of Tiger Girl stuff. Interesting character and interesting evolution of the character. If it's the one I'm thinking of, she started out kind of the leader of a big like kingdom and a nation, and it was almost more of a science fiction book, and then it devolved into a just kind of your standard Jungle Girl title, which was a lot less complicated and easier to draw. But her outfit is white tiger stripe, which is a rarity amongst the Jungle Girls. Most of them are a yellow or an orange based animal print instead of the snow lion. Yeah, I found a web page that actually has tons of the Tiger Girl stuff up, and you'll see a lot of it in some of my older montages that I put out, because I absolutely love the stuff. And I'm like, wow. Irish Makala as Sheena, Queen of the Jungle. You see the complexity of her top. It's because it's almost exactly like Shauna the She-Devil. I think it's the same print. She's blonde. And so they had to like really like redesign this top so that you could not mistake her for the other, which I always thought was funny. Black from Baker. We got Tara, Tiger Girl, and Sheena, Queen of the Jungle. Which Sheena, I think, eventually became a Marvel, kind of under Marvel's wing. I know, well, no, Shauna the She-Devil was Marvel. I think Marvel did the movie adaptations for Sheena. But I think, if I remember right, Dynamite has Sheena currently. So this would be modern books. Your modern stories. I want to say some of these later issues became color, but I'm not positive. And then Tiger Girl, I always just, like, as far as what outfits they assign to these people, her animal print with her headband thing always stood out, and I think made her one of the more visually poppin', like less generic, more regal looking of all the Jungle Girls. I always thought it was, you know, she stood out more amongst the crowd of Jungle Girls. Nice black and white pages. Ooh, even though it's a vintage comic, we're getting a little bit crazy with our panel shapes. I love that. You can see it jumps from here, 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 here. They even got arrows to guide you, because it's not, they like didn't trust you to figure this out, because it's not the grid like it normally is. They got pretty crazy with it, so that's cool. Split T-shaped panels. I mean, this is not that normal for what you'd see in an old Tiger Girl comic, but I think some of them did get a little more creative with their panel choices. Even these, where they're not like totally square, adds a lot. Like it really, it's more visually captivating. And I appreciate that. I like that they did that. Because like EC Comics and stuff like that, man, I love them to death. But some of those pages where it's just like a grid of panels, it just felt like a slog to get through. Because there's so much panels, there's so much dialogue. It just kind of drains you to read it all. Sheena, Queen of the Jungle, looks like it's given us a nice big popping splash page with a giant squid. That's always going to win me over. You're going to throw a giant squid in there. We're going to break up our panels a little bit cooler shaped. That's always a good thing. Nice thick dark lines on everything. It makes the art pop forth, especially in these kind of somewhat dense black and white pages and panels. Of course, you got to fight and kill the giant squid. Giant squids, giant octopus, clearly a thing that I appreciate. Always got to have your rough, hardened sailors show up. Yeah. Irish Macalla and Sheena, Queen of the Jungle fans. I believe that's her right there. That's actually, that looks pretty nice as far as the color goes. Some of these old black and white things or early color things look a little rough, but that looks pretty good. Anyway, so that is going to be them. That's Jungle Girls 1 through 4. This was I want to say a fairly short-lived AC Comics run that was just predominantly reprints of vintage titles, but I'm okay with that because I love the vintage comics, and I love the fact that they would give them to us in a modern, updated form, because otherwise there's just no way to get them. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. That's my story. I will catch you guys later. Bye.